Hi, this is Crossover Conversations. Crossover Conversations is a TFC iWant series.
It follows the conversation of Philippine star music artists and Filgrimage Ambassadors as they talk about life as a Filipino abroad.
Wow, look at you!
Hey everyone, my name is Tim. I'm 25 and I'm a Filipino, but I was born and raised in Canada. Now I live here in Manila.
I'm Heather. I'm 21. I was born and raised in London, UK, but I'm half Filipino and I also now live in Manila.
Hi everyone, my name is Vianne. I am 21 years old. I am from Cebu, Philippines, and now I am in London, UK with...
Hi, I'm Nicole and I am 21 years old. I am from Zamboanga City, Mindanao in the Philippines, and I'm also currently studying here in the UK.
Now we are going to start with a few questions to answer.
Okay, so first is, when do you feel most like a Filipino?
Every day.
Every day, honestly.
Right now, when I'm melting in the heat.
True.
Context?
Oh yeah, just
Context.
to build a bit of context. I moved here, not permanently though, but as a university student starting in 2018. So how many years has it been?
Three.
3 years? 3 years and a half maybe? I've been spending my whole university life here, studying specifically fashion management. And so far it's good. I'll share more about it later. And what about you?
So, different from Angel, I moved here a year earlier than her, and I'm moving here permanently with my family, and I'm also doing university. I just finished my first year. So we haven't been here that long. Like, we didn't grow up here. We spent most of our life, high school life, in the Philippines. And yeah, so we feel more Filipino than like British or like being really into the culture here.
Yeah.
There's your typical answers of like...
I feel most like a Filipino when I'm eating sinigang.
My favorite. I didn't realize. There are things that I don't realize that are Filipino, but they are.
I think there are also things that, Filipinos really do to feel more Filipino. Like, Filipinos are really active on social media and identify with the wins of Filipinos everywhere.
For sure.
Like with
Heidelin
Heidelin
Diaz.
Diaz.
Yeah.
Won the first gold for the Philippines, and she's from my city in the Philippines, which makes me very proud.
From Zamboanga, right?
Yes, Zamboanga City. So that's like, there's also Manny Pacquiao, or when we watch the Miss Universe.
You know those videos like when like Capture and Agree won Miss Universe and there's tons of people watching, and then the minute it's announced she wins, they all stand up and they're cheering. It almost makes you, well, I cry at everything, but it makes me feel like crying.
You gonna cry now?
No! Stop.
I think it's our collectivistic identity, or at least as a part of our culture, where we really want Filipinos to succeed.
Yeah.
Because it feels like our community is winning.
Yeah.
And other ways for representation, especially for the Philippines, another example would be like pop culture, or like social media. For example, we have people like Bretman Rock. Even if Bretman Rock grew up his whole life in Hawaii, he has this new show and his series where he also embraces his Filipino culture, which I think is a really amazing way to appreciate his background, his history, or just who he is as a person. Just people like them, or even like we have a lot of people online that are really sharing their passion or like what they love about themselves as a Filipino. And to me, sharing these type of like simple conversations, like when you ask them, oh hey, do you know Bretman Rock, or do you know this winner from Miss Universe? It just makes me proud as a Filipino.
Seeing our culture championed, I think, is when I feel most, which is like the ethos of FiliFest or whatever. But, being a part of a community like that is what makes me feel most Filipino, I think.
Whenever I see like Filipinos coming together because of something I contributed towards, or like I know someone who did it out of like, it's so voluntary. Like I didn't know like there was such a huge like Filipino youth community here in the UK. Like,
that's
you
true.
have the
That's
Filipino
true.
societies, You have so many like organizations like FiliFest. You have like I've worked with like recent ones for the FiliFest challenge, and I didn't know that when I first moved here. All I had in my mind was, oh, I have to be like into the British culture, like to the point where like it got so overwhelming that I let go of my identity as a Filipino.
A part of us were like, oh no, should I adjust to the culture here? Should I adjust to the people around here? Should I try to fit in? But then months later, or even like a few years later, I started to appreciate, like, you know what, I should just be who I am.
Yeah.
I should stop like trying to adjust or try to fit in, and just embrace like where I come from.
Yeah.
What you said about FiliFest as well is really something that I also got amazed with, because coming here, I didn't know a lot of people from the Philippines. I went out of my comfort zone, being like, okay, I'm going somewhere that I haven't really been to before. I don't know a lot of people, but because like I stepped out of my comfort zone and I tried to think of things that, you know, where can I try to find communities, and I think that's one of our traits as Filipinos. Like,
honestly,
we're very hospitable, and we tend to value community a lot.
You know, Filipinos find each other and they stick together.
Just a tip, if you are new, like, you know, in a
new country,
place, in a new country, you can really find everything on social media. You can just reach out like on Facebook groups, just type Filipino societies and it's there.
How important is your language to your Filipino identity? So me and Angel speak
dialects basically. So aside from Tagalog or Filipino, I speak Cebuano, or in other words, Bisaya.
And I speak Chavacano, which is a Spanish-based language from my city in Zamboanga.
But it's very interesting because growing up, even if I grew up in Cebu, Philippines, we have always been known as people who grew up speaking English as part of our, you know, culture, as part of our background. And so the way I grew up, I actually spoke a mix of English and Bisaya, Bislish.
Would you say Chavacano English? Tagalog
Chav-English.
I grew up speaking Chavacano, Tagalog, and English, and a weird mixture of all of it. So now that I'm in the UK, I speak Chavacano at home with my parents, and English mostly outside for convenience. So actually, even back in the Philippines, my least used language is Tagalog.
Same. We usually just apply it when we go to Luzon or when
travel
we
around. I like that the question then phrase it as how important is Tagalog or Filipino to your identity as a Filipino.
It's actually really important, because that's how, like, especially now that we are far from home, people tend to identify you with that. Like, that's like your kind of like a universal language in a way. Like, the moment you're outside of the Philippines and then you meet other Filipinos, that's the first language you speak. And I would say it's actually very important, because imagine if I didn't know Filipino at all, I would be like, what?
I feel like my Filipino identity card would be revoked if I say I don't speak Filipino. But honestly, my own language, Chavacano, to me is it's really just my language. It's something very special to me. It's something I'm really proud of saying, look, I speak this language. I'm from this city. Because no one really knows what it is or where I'm from.
But I find it very interesting. I think that's one of the good things about living in the Philippines, because you know, despite being in different like islands, we have a main language that's Filipino, but it's also really interesting to know that, oh, you're from Zamboanga, you speak Chavacano. It's different from me. I'm from Cebu, I speak Cebuano or Bisaya. It's like you share a common thing, but you also have your own differences. And I think that's what makes Philippines special.
Like, a person who speaks Bisaya is just as much Filipino as someone who speaks Tagalog. And whenever I learn like the street lingo of each language, like the char, kinebe, and then in Bisaya, mao, bitaw, those kinds of things, and it makes me feel Filipino in a different way. You know, Tagalog is just Luzon, but there are so many islands, and they all speak so many different languages too. And they're all Filipino.
That's something also, both of us, right? Because we didn't grow up speaking there's like, at least for me, you know, like, sorry. At least for me, there's some sort of shyness. Yeah, you know, but there's some shyness when it comes to finally speaking after so many years of not. I even have like family members or friends now who, because I've been here for so long, I've picked it up a lot faster than I had before. And so I'll send them something or I'll speak with them and they're like,
whoa, like, who are you? This is so weird.
And I don't know, growing up, I also had that, and that actually held me back, I think, from learning, because the attitude towards like learning Tagalog was like, whoa, wow. I hated how it wasn't like natural or normal for me, and I guess that just made it harder for me to learn it.
I can relate.
Yeah?
Yeah. I remember this one experience in church. All my stories are in church. I really was a church boy. I remember this one experience in church. The Sunday school teachers made me sing a song in Tagalog, and after I sung it, I think the people were laughing the whole way through it. They weren't joyful because of my singing. They were laughing at my pronunciation. I couldn't roll my R's. My Tagalog was Tagalog. Like. So it's only been in the past 3 years that I've really tried to learn.
Yeah, me too.
Fix my tongue, the placements and all that stuff. But there's something fun about practicing, something that makes you, I don't know, at least for me, makes me feel like I'm experiencing a part of my identity that I didn't get to experience before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the little by little overcoming the insecurities.
As a summary, how important is your language to your Filipino identity? Very important.
The Filipino language is important to keep it alive, especially like now that I'm most probably going to live out the rest of my life here and not really, be at home. But also my own language growing up is very important. Like, it is my identity.
If you were to put like a percentage of the importance of the language,
huge, like
100,
110%,
150%,
honestly.
200%. Well, that is all for our crossover conversations for today, and I hope you enjoyed.
Like and subscribe to FiliFest, and check us out on all our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and our website www.filifest.co.uk. Bye!